Manchester United's blockbuster summer transfer window has brought with it heightened expectations, and nearly 3 years into the job, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is yet to win any silverware as manager. This, along with some mixed early season form, has led to speculation that the Norwegian coach's job is not as secure as it once was. Despite signing a new 3-year contract in July, Solskjaer knows that without trophies, this season will be seen as a failure, especially after the club signed one of the best centre-backs in Europe, one of the continent's most prestigious young talents, and one of the best attackers to play the game. And in recent weeks, Antonio Conte's name has cropped up as a potential replacement should the worst happen and Ole be sacked. According to Gianluca Di Marzio, the Italian coach would accept an offer from the Red Devils, having previously turned down Premier League rivals Tottenham Hotspur after being unconvinced by the North London club's project. But what would he bring to the Man United job, and would he be a good fit at Old Trafford? On today's FD Explained, we aim to find out. One of the first things that should always be asked when assessing a manager's suitability for a job is whether their tactical approach suits the side they'll be inheriting. And Antonio Conte's tactics have been pretty well defined for the best part of the last decade. After switching from a 4-3-3 to a 3-5-2 in his second season at Juventus, he has rarely swayed from a system which utilises a back three and wing-backs. He famously used Kwadwo Asamoah and Stefan Lichtsteiner as his wing-backs in Turin, with the pair contributing to a combined 29 Serie A goals during their 2 campaigns under Conte, accounting for 19% of the side's total output in that time. He worked a similar trick at Chelsea, with Victor Moses and Marcos Alonso, 2 players who had yet to truly impress in the Premier League when he took over. In their 2 years under the Italian, the 2 widemen were involved in a combined 30 goals in the Premier League, which was 20% of the Blues' total output. By comparison, Luke Shaw and Aaron Wan-Bissaka contributed to 6 goals each in 2020-21, equivalent to 16% of United's total in the league. Their underlying numbers also make for good reading. Shaw creates 2.4 chances per 90, the second highest average in the United squad, and is also one of the side's main ball carriers, with Nemanja Matic, who started just 12 games, the only teammate to beat his 7.6 progressive carries per 90 last term. However, unlike Marcos Alonso in his 16-17 pomp, Shaw likes to bring the ball into the left channel and doesn't go to the byline that often, and staying wide to create overloads down the flank would be required in Conte's system. But with his ability to drive play forwards and provide an overlap, he would probably be able to adapt quickly to a new role. Wan-Bissaka, of course, has more limitations on the ball and in the final third, creating just 1 chance a game and completing just over half of his attempted dribbles. Conte would perhaps be more keen to deploy the attack-minded Diogo Dalot as his right wing-back, and use Wan-Bissaka as his right-sided centre-back alongside Harry Maguire and Raphael Varane, with his excellent recovery pace and tackling ability making up for Dalot's defensive frailties. The real problem for Conte would lie in midfield. Considering the wealth of attacking talent he'd have to choose from, a 3-4-3 rather than a 3-5-2 would probably be his preference. But without a top-class defensive midfielder who's able to provide cover when the wing-backs bomb forward, the system begins to look pretty shaky. At Juventus he had Pirlo, at Chelsea he had Conte, and at Inter he had Brozovic. At United, however, signing a DM would surely be the first priority for Conte. But even then, he'd still have some headaches. Bruno Fernandes would likely be preferred to Pogba as one of the midfield 2, given he's a more active presser, not to mention the fact that Pogba has played his best football on the left over the last year. If he wanted to integrate the 2 of them, it would have to be in a 3-5-2, with the potential for Bruno to be positioned in an advanced role like Christian Eriksen was at points in the 2020-21 campaign. This kind of setup may also benefit the box-to-box capabilities of Donny van de Beek, who could provide a goal threat similar to that of Nicolo Barella at the San Siro. But to do this would require sacrificing the wide attackers. £77 million Jadon Sancho would be benched, or even converted into a wing-back, while Marcus Rashford, Edison Cavani, Cristiano Ronaldo, Anthony Martial and Mason Greenwood would all compete for 2 places up front. He certainly wouldn't be short of options, but United's squad may simply be too top-heavy for Conte to find his best 11 and keep everyone happy. Another worry for the United hierarchy would be Conte's record of quitting when things don't go his way. After he resigned from the Juventus job in 2014, it was revealed by Italian journalist Alessandro Alchietto that it came following a dispute with the club over transfers. Conte wanted Juan Cuadrado, who had enjoyed a fourth superb season at Fiorentina, but Juve couldn't afford him, and he was also apparently angered by the lack of guarantee over the futures of Arturo Vidal and Paul Pogba, as well as the club's pre-season schedule, which saw them travel to Indonesia and Australia. He was also sacked by Chelsea in 2018 following a disappointing second campaign, one which had been preceded by a summer in which Conte was frustrated by the club's failure to sign his top targets, namely Romelu Lukaku. And his latest resignation came as a result of Inter's financial woes. With Conte wanting to invest further in a side which had just won the Scudetto, he decided that the club's plan to sell €80 million worth of talent in order to balance the books was at odds with his ambitions. At Man United, there is a much bigger sense now that the club is building a long-term project. Hiring a manager who has lasted just 2 years in each of his previous 3 jobs wouldn't be in keeping with this, especially given the amount of transfer targets the Red Devils have missed out on in recent years. But despite his record of combustibility, Conte is also a world-class motivator. After all, he managed to take over a Chelsea dressing room which had become toxic under Jose Mourinho and lead them to a title in just a year. The aforementioned Victor Moses is one of his biggest success stories, not only because of the way he used him tactically, but also the confidence he inspired in a player who at 26 had yet to be given a chance at Stamford Bridge. Having been constantly loaned out, playing bit-part roles at Liverpool, Stoke and West Ham, the Nigerian international's fortunes turned around swiftly under Conte. Within months, he was playing the best football of his career. Conte's infectious energy not only galvanised the squad, but also a Stamford Bridge crowd which had been hammering the players the previous campaign. The Blues won all but 2 of their home games in the league that season, and his methods of man management can get pretty wild. With the Serie A title already wrapped up going into the final game of the 2013-14 season, Conte was determined for his Juve side to get the win and break the 100-point mark. Unconvinced that his players were motivated enough, he arranged with captain Gianluigi Buffon to stage an argument, in which he insulted Buffon and the rest of the squad and questioned their commitment. It worked, with Juve wrapping up a 3-0 win over Cagliari by the 40th minute. Even in a dressing room containing egos like Ronaldo and Pogba, Conte would be confident of getting the squad to work its absolute hardest for him. And this leads us onto the most crucial factor. If Antonio Conte was hired by Manchester United, winning trophies would be a minimum requirement. And considering his excellent record, it would be one of the main reasons for appointing him. Conte is famous for getting his sides to quickly reach their full potential, and with this has come silverware. He got Bari promoted to Serie A in his second season in charge, won the Scudetto unbeaten in his first year back at Juve, and in his first year in England won the Premier League with 93 points, the second highest tally in the competition's history at that point. He also got one of Italy's weakest teams of the modern era to play better than almost anyone else at Euro 2016, convincingly knocking out holders Spain and then taking world champions Germany to penalties. And then of course there is Inter, a side which had scraped Champions League football by a point weeks before he took charge. In his first campaign, they equalled the points tally managed by Jose Mourinho's treble-winning outfit 10 years earlier and broke Juve's 9-year hold on Serie A the following season. He doesn't have the best record in tournaments, with the FA Cup he won at Chelsea his only major honour in this regard. But his pedigree in league competition is up there with the very best coaches of this generation. Manchester United would arguably be his toughest challenge though. The quality at the top of the Premier League has only gotten better since he left England in 2018, to the point where even if he significantly boosted what is already a very good squad at Old Trafford, winning the league would be far from a guarantee. Last term, United finished 12 points off champions Man City and ranked 4th for both expected goals and expected goals against. Realistically, he would need to be given significant backing in the transfer market and at least 3 seasons. Whether the Man United hierarchy would have such patience with a manager known for providing quick results and silverware in the short term is up for debate. Nevertheless, Conte has a well-defined winning formula, and one which has worked multiple times in recent years. If he is allowed to work as he likes, then there are few better candidates out there should United be looking in the near future. So that was our Football Daily Explained, answering the question, would Antonio Conte be a good fit at Manchester United? But what do you guys think? Do you agree or do you disagree? And if so, who should be the manager if Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was to leave? Please let me know in the comments below. If you've enjoyed this video and want to see more Football Daily content, then click on screen right now and make sure you watch Team Talk. And as always guys, don't forget to like and subscribe.